This is the continuation of the part 1 of this series, which there's a link to in the description below if you haven't seen it already. I highly encourage you to see that one first because I'm going to rush through most of the steps in this one with the exception of those steps. And the part where we're going to stop in the first part of the tutorial, like the same steps, where we're going to pick up is in this tutorial is after renaming / deleting extra bones. So last one, it was porting Zelda to Sheik, or actually never mind, it was actually the other way around. It was actually porting Sheik over onto Zelda, but this time we're going to do the more challenging one of porting Zelda onto Sheik. So without further ado, let's get started. Part 1, what we did when previewing the model was we edited the rigging in Brawlbox, but because this is an entire dress and like extremely skinned and that would be difficult to rig in Brawlbox, we're going to rig it in Blender. So starting from here is where the tutorial gets completely different. So what to do first is same thing as we did in the other tutorial with checking polygons with the weight editor on and clicking, and then or like just selecting all the vertices and then looking for the things. But this time, instead of editing it here, what we're going to do is we're gonna label which ones there are. So we have, I'm just gonna put it in here in my notes folder for the tutorial. So we have 0, we have 1, definitely 2, I'm gonna write this down before I forget though. Those are eyes, so I would worry about those. That's head. Oh wait, that's her DN, so that would be 30. And 37. Okay, I do believe that's all of them. But just to make sure, I know for a fact that the hair is going to be rigged to the hair endpoints, and that is polygon 0, which is already marked. Okay, so that's good. So the next thing to do after labeling which polygons are rigged to those bones, which is that list right there where we have polygons 0, 1, 2, and 30, is to export the model that's already over the semi-new bones. You're going to export as a .dae file this time. I'll call this Zelda though. Okay. So I'll forgot to. So I'm gonna just put this in my Blender documents really quickly before I forget, so it's easier to find when I have Blender open. Okay, and then I will open up Autodesk FBX Converter 2013.3, as you can see me doing right now. When it loads, you're going to click this add button right over here on the left side, and then look for it, and then you want FBX 2013 is what you convert it to. You next want to get the rigging bones. There are actually two sets of bones you're going to use, and I'm going to explain that in a few minutes or so. But what you're going to do for the other set of bones is you're going to copy the pack file of Sheik or whoever you're porting it over and paste that into somewhere where you can open it up with BRSViewer, or you could technically open it up from where it is, but like if you paste it in the same directory and set the directory of BRSViewer to do that, it's a bit easier. But anyways, you open up BRSViewer v1.2, you go to open files, open up the pack file, and then you'll see this kind of hierarchy right here where it has 3D models and then textures and then another 3D models, but that one's going to be the SHD, which you don't need to worry about. So you're going to double click on this one right there. So double click on that, and then as you can see here, it loads the model in there. If you can't tell if it's the model that you want, if you hold down right click, you'll move the model, but it won't actually move the model, it'll only appear to move the model for like transitioning. And scrolling on the mouse wheel is zoom in and out. Left click drag is rotate the camera. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to model, down here at the bottom, click export, and then PSK, and save that as a PSK file. It'll say writing right here at the top, right there, and then once it's finished, if it says not responding, just ignore that. It's just still loading it, but when it's finished, it'll get rid of that and then look like that. So after it's done exporting, you can close out BRSViewer. You don't need it anymore. You can delete the TGA files. Those are just textures and you're not going to need those because this is just the bones. Then I'll put the PSK with the Blender file so it's easy to find. Next thing is open up Blender. It may take a while depending. Sometimes it can take a really long time to load, other times it can take like 5 seconds, depending on your computer speed and whatnot. And what you're going to see when it boots up is something like this, and if you left click in this gray area on the side of this window here, like this dark gray area, that window will disappear. And if you notice, when I rotate the camera here, it's kind of like in a perspective mode, which means that if I'm doing 3D modeling, it's going to be hard to figure out what's where. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to press the 5 button on the number key, and if you can't remember where that is, you can always go down on the bottom left where it says view, and then you go to camera, you go to, where is it? It's somewhere not. It's somewhere over here, I know that. Ah, that one. You go to view perspect ortho, and that'll toggle between the two if you forget about the number pad 5. You definitely don't want a random cube to be in the model, because that's extra polygons and they don't even do anything. You also don't want this camera or the light, and that may end up even crashing the game if those are in there. So what you're going to do is you're going to press A until everything has an orange border like that, and then you're going to delete. And whenever you press the delete key on your keyboard, it'll say OK question mark with a dialog thing below, and just click on delete like that. What you're going to do next is you're going to go up on the top left, file, import, and then FBX, and you're going to import the FBX that was converted with the FBX converter. It's going to be really small upon importing. That's actually like supposed to be how it is. Okay. Next thing is you're going to import the PSK file. And if you don't see it here, skeletonmesh.psk, you can go to user preferences, and then when it loads, if it loads, is it loading? You can, if you don't see it there, you can always go to user preferences and enable it by on this left pane, clicking import export so it only shows that stuff, and then scroll down until you see it. It should be right here at like 75% or so down at the import Unreal Skeleton Mesh / animation set, the .psk. So just click the checkbox and then save changes, and then it'll appear in the dialog box. So you want to import the PSK file from BRRes Viewer, which is that one. And this one's a bit larger, but if you press the S key, when you press the S key on your keyboard, you notice this arrow thing appearing on the top left. I'll draw a circle on it. So when you press the S key, there's this black arrow, and then there's a dotted line towards the model. If you move your mouse cursor towards the line like that, it'll shrink the model, and if you move it towards the arrow part, away from the line, it'll make it larger. In this case, we want it to be basically the same size as the model, so we want to make it really small. So you want to do that, and then just left click or enter either or when you're done scaling, and just do it a few times until it's like the same size. Now personally, what I like to do is, for accuracy, I like to right click is selecting in Blender, and then clicking on smooth, and the one that looks jagged, which is this one, I click on smooth so that it looks much better. That way I can align the model easier with the other model. So I'm going to have the bones and then shift right click the model. So hold down shift and then right click is to select multiple things. Then I'm going to press the R key, and then another arrow will show up. But this, you can actually press Z or X or Y, and that'll rotate the model and the bones on the respective axis. So Z, you'll rotate it on the Z axis, X, you'll rotate it on the X axis, and Y, you'll rotate on the Y axis. In this particular case, for model porting like this, we're going to rotate on the Z axis, and then you're going to type in -90 and then enter, and they'll rotate it -90 on the z-axis like that. And then you'll continue scaling until the arms are like about lined up. Zoom in so you can see better. That's probably approximately right. It probably doesn't have to be exact because you're not even gonna these are only temporary bones anyways. So what you're gonna do next is like collapse this. And I'm gonna expand this a bit. So this is the model of Sheik. We don't need the model anymore, so I'm gonna delete that. Next thing is that list of the polygons. So let's go through that list: 0, 1, 2, and 30. So what we're going to do is we're going to shift left click those in this menu here. 1, 2, and 30. And only in this menu it's shift left click. If it's in the 3D view and you're selecting it, shift right click. And what you're going to do is you're going to also shift select the armature and then do object parent and then clear and keep transformation. Then you're also going to click this cube icon right there. No, wait, not that one. The wrench icon right there, and you're going to press the X to apply the modifier, or to remove the modifier. And you're going to do that with all of the polygons, like that. Which one's? Oh, that's one. Okay, so let's see. So these ones, 11, 12, etc. These were all fine in Brawlbox, so we can just leave them as is and just keep them with their rigging. These ones are the ones that we're going to have to edit. So what we're going to do first is we're going to select the armature with everything that's a child of it, and we're going to move that entire armature over to the side. So we're going to, so the way to do that is you hold down right click while moving the mouse away from the model, because if you do it where the model is, you might select another polygon. But if you do it over here in this gray spot, then it'll move to remain selecting that stuff. So you can rotate it, and then when you let go of the mouse and you see it's moving, you're fine, and you can just press the X key to move it on the X axis and then translate an exact value over. So like here is probably approximately good, and notice on the bottom left it says 0.2151. I'll say just 0.25 is an easy number to remember, so I'll just do that and then press enter to move them over that much. And that leaves me to be able to work more easily with this over here. Object mode, you'll notice there are now two separate objects. and thus we can now move this back, well, over there, I guess. Yeah, I'll move it over there. Make 0.25. Okay. This next part requires you to remove the rigging. So to remove the rigging, you'll have the object selected, and then you're going to click this little triangular icon right there, and then right in this box underneath the words vertex groups, you're just going to spam click the minus button until everything is gone. Okay. So what you're going to do is you're going to, one at a time, select the object and shift select that, and do Control P, and then with empty groups. And do that for each of them. Okay, now I'm just going to quickly check the head and make sure it's good. Probably good. I honestly can't see the neck, but I'm sure it's fine. But that's what testing animation is for. And then that is a little weird, but like, I'm not really sure too much what we could do about the hair. Unless we like rig the whole thing, so it's probably fine as is. So I'm going to save it, so make sure I have like a backup. So I'll save it as fit sheet. Okay, and then I'm going to export this as a.fbx. Then after that, open up FBX Converter again. Then when you open up FBX Converter, you're going to click Add again, only this time you're going to choose the FBX that you just exported, which in this case would be that. And then instead of FBX, you want DAE Collada, and then click Convert again. Okay, and then for this, what you're going to do is, first things first, you're going to open up Rawlbox 0.77 again. Doesn't really matter because I'm just replacing, because I'm not really just open up a model, doesn't really matter which one. Can even be over link, because all you're doing is replacing, exporting, and then closing. And why did it do that? It looks weird. Okay, so it looks like what I'm gonna have to do is scratch that for now, and then I will go back into Blender once again. Cancel that idea. And what I'm gonna, so the reason that it did that is because this GURD object and possibly some of the other ones, it's the polygon is rigged to like more than one bone. So we have to fix that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go into close mode. We're going to translate each bone a certain distance away. I think I'll do the x-axis for the legs. So I'll do -0.1 for the leg. And the knee, I'll do another -0.1. And this is going to be annoying to do this, but it'll actually work. Well, sort of. I just realized that I have to do this twice. So before this happens, it'll have to be saved as a duplicate. So for the duplicate, the ones that were weight painted I will delete, which are that one, that one, is there anything else? That one, and that one. And I think that's it. Pretty sure. Wait, what's that thing? Yeah, I think that's all the ones that were weight painted, yes. So I'll save that one as the second one and export that as an .fbx file. That would be 2. And then the ones that were weight painted, I'll change in this one. So the ones that were not weight painted, I will delete those, which are that and those. Not that one. Those and that. Pretty sure everything else is weight painted. Oh yeah, and the faces and stuff were in. So delete that, that. Okay, so that's all of them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go into pose mode, and am going to do what I was going to do before, which is I'm going to translate these, and it is important that they are translated. And I'll do 0.1 for negative in that direction for that. Then this one I'll do another -0.1. The foot I'll do another -0.1. And I didn't really do any weight painting with the toe bone, so I'm just going to leave that as is. And it looks really weird right now, but this is the only way that I can think of that'll make this work when you do weight painting. So that one, 0.1. I mean, technically it doesn't have to be 0.1, but if you do a 0.1, then it's like you just type in the same value each time, rather than like pointing the mouse over and over again. Now where's that other bone? Oh, it's over there already, sorry. So 0.1, and then 0.1. And yes, it's gonna look really weird. Okay, then that one I need to get the waist bone. Where's the waist bone? There we go, waist bone. I'm gonna move this one back on the Y, so 0.1 for that. Another 0.1 for that one. And then the head one, I'll move another 0.1. So I'll move that another 0.1 on the Y. And that should do it for the posing. And don't worry, it'll look all fine when it's back into Brawlbox. So what to do is expand the armature. For each item or whatnot, you're going to click apply after clicking the wrench to apply the modifier, and do that for each one. Then shift select all of them and unparent them. Then you can delete this armature, import the armature again, the original one, the FBX from before, delete all of the polygons associated with it so that it's just the bones, like so, and then reparent them to the armature by Control P with empty groups. And notice how you can click there and then in the 3D view, but you can't really do that. You can't really do both clicks in there, or else it might do the wrong order for the parenting, because it's like weirdly glitched. Okay. Honestly, I don't think there is a real way to do this other than the old-fashioned style of Brawl importing. So that means I am going to have to actually, let me so I'm going to unparent everything and remove all the rigging. I'm gonna see if I can fix these normals though. That's much better. Much better. And then I'll do the same with that, because these normals are whack. Okay, so now I'm going to do this the old-fashioned style. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to invert it with that. So basically I'm just going to rig this in Brawlbox because I can't figure out any other way to get this to work. And I'm going to try this again. Much better. Now, unfortunately, this means that I will also have to re-rig all of it. So I'll actually do that now before I forget. Which must be in 0.77. So now that the skirt is finally fixed in both ways, now I can go back into Roblox and import this new MDLO via the import new object command. So it's that one, and then skirt top, and skirt, those two. Okay, and now the final vertexing. What's that? I know. Oh, I think that's the old one. Yeah, that's the old one. Skirt's slightly different, but I wouldn't worry about it. Gems might have to be vertex slightly, but I'll figure that out in a bit. For now, it's more or less fixed. I just have to delete the extra polygons that I'm not still using, and change the materials and shaders back to what they were. So I don't need that one. I don't need that or that. Or that one. I do need that. Wait. I think that's. Wait, is that the one? I might need to re-import that one. Yep, I do have to import that part. But just to make sure, I'll make sure that that's the only part that I need to fix the shader on. Or the normals, I guess you could say. Yep, only that part. So that means that back in Blender, I will open up new 2 and save as shirt only. And then I will delete all of that. And then all I have to do is fix the normals, which takes all like 2 seconds. So recalculate outside, and then export. Open up FBX Converter. Convert back to DAE. Sure. Okay. Open up 0.77 again. Open up some random fighter. Replace with that one. And export. Then back in this one, then I can import new object, that object, save, exit. It's always very important that after you click new import new object, use save, exit, and reopen, because otherwise BrawlBox might crash if you attempt any vertexing of any sort or of editing the polygons. So it's always better safe than sorry. Always. That doesn't look bad. Looks good if I do say so myself. Okay. Only two more or one more, well, I guess two more things. Almost done. The last thing is fixing the materials and shaders, and then it'll be ready for testing. So okay, so we have nice GLNT. Okay, so this one, I'll change that to GLNT. That also to GLNT. And that one. That one will be dress. Face 02. Or just face, I guess. Okay, so I have GLNT, dress, face, face. Okay. It's all good on my object end. So now I will figure out what shaders these use. Shader 6. so 6 onwards. Those can be deleted. Okay. Hey, what's this? Apparently that one's inside out. And if it does appear inside out like that, that's easy enough. I think that might be because of Blender. Let me just double check that. Yeah, I think I did that backwards. Is it only that part? Yep, it's only that part. Okay. So that means we're almost done. So this part is what I need to recalculate. So let's try that one. Okay, that looks much better. Let's try this. I do believe we are almost done. One last conversion back to Brawlbox, and then I will test the animations, and then if the animations look good, I'll test in game. Oops, wrong. Or that one. That one. Okay, so now I will import said polygon, and then rename that trigger objects, and the last one. Yeah, it do look like it inside out, so let's see if this fixes it. So face. There we go. Much better. Now to preview the animations. Wait, so which object will explode in game? testing. Okay, one final thing before I test any game, and that is to attempt to re-rig that one section. And that can be done in Brawlbox. Also, because we, not because we import into Blender and then export from Blender, but solely because we edited the rigging in Blender, something that you have to do is select all the vertices like that, go to the weight editor in 0.77, select the bone from this bottom list here, and then click the minus and the plus until it's back to like where it should be, like right there. That's all you have to do for when you use Blender rigging at all. Otherwise, there will literally be these random parts sticking out of the model when you're close to the edge, and it looks really, really weird. Like really weird. So very bad if you do that. So so let's see. So if these are, okay, so those are to the waist. So I want to rig all of that to the waist. And then I'll test this out. Sheik motion, yeah. That's from the Sheik animations, it's not actually from the model here. There we go, that looks much better. A little glitchy in parts, but not too bad for having to build a server sheet. So animations look pretty decent. So one last thing, and that is to make sure it looks good in game. Okay, almost. Not sure why her hair is randomly shiny, whereas it's not normally shiny. But the eyes are easily fixed. That's because she has extra expressions which Sheik doesn't have, because Sheik doesn't have any expressions. Okay, grapple and everything works, that's good. So all I have to do is just delete those objects and then the ref, and that's good. And I'll actually do that before releasing it, but like, that's like minor stuff, so I'm not really going to show you that. If you're really interested, I can show you that minor stuff in another tutorial, but anywho. So there you have Zelda over Sheik, as well as the previous one of Sheik over Zelda. So please let me know what you thought of the tutorial in the comments below, and check out my website for more stuff like my mods, my tutorials, and a bunch of other cool stuff.